Sure. Togozani, good Dumelang. I almost said good evening because it's 7:26 p.m. January 11th, 2023, and this is my first video for the year. Sure. What a great year ahead. And what a terrible year 2022 was. 2022 was a very interesting year. I would say the highs were very high, but the lows were extremely low, to a point where you feel as though there were no highs at all, But anyway, we made it out alive, and yeah, here we are in 2023. 2023 is the year, so 2022 was the year of healing for me, and I declared it the year of healing. I had gone through a lot of things. I had been going through a lot of things since 2019. I think the last time I literally felt like I was myself was the 19th of December 2019. The next day, 20th of December, I lost my mom, and life was never the same, again. So it was mourning the loss of a mother, a friend, a sister, a mentor, everything. My mom was one of those people that were just all around us. She needed you to, if you needed her to be a friend, she'd be a friend. If you needed her to play a motherly role, she'd be a mother. I felt so lost without her on so many levels in life. Even as a healer, my mom was very supportive of my calling, and when I had functions, she would oversee certain things, and I'd always be frustrated of who's going to step in, who's going to take over and look after my things, who's going to oversee things. Because, when you are the gobela and you have a function, you don't have the ability to just oversee everything. So you need somebody that you trust that can oversee everything. Make sure that things are running smoothly in terms of food, in terms of just also making sure that there's not a lot of movement in your ndumba, because that's also another problem. And then while still going through that loss, another family disaster happened literally a month after my mom's passing, as a result of her passing. So it was just hectic for myself and my siblings, and yeah, it's been tough. And then as I'm trying to recover from this, then COVID hit, and we found ourselves, in that pandemic fatigue, pandemic confusion, so you're trying to find yourself, but at the same time, the whole world is going through a pandemic, so it was a bit tough. And later on in 2020, I fell ill. So I had to undergo another initiation. So I had always gone through initiation. I was a healer. I was already a qualified, fully trained healer. I was also already a prophet. I was already a preacher, a prophetess, a priestess. However, I needed to move to the next level. I call it a I say, for lack of a better word, it was a postgrad of Sporofeto. So I needed to undergo training. So while still going through that, luckily the benefit of COVID was working from home. So I was able to undergo my training, yes, Sporofeto, or my postgrad, yes, Sporofeto, because I had done Sporofeto I think 10 years prior. So however, I needed to be elevated 10 years prior, and again in 2012. So it was in 2010 and again in 2012, all different processes. So again in 2020, then I needed to hit the call again, leave my comfortable home, go and stay with a gobela, forget that I myself as a gobela, go and undertake a new journey and new learnings. Again, that also comes with a discomfort, but I was sick physically. It wasn't just a matter of I have a calling and therefore I'm going to initiation, but I was sick. I couldn't walk. My feet were swollen. The works. If one thing about my ancestors, they'll make you sick. They'll make you. Oops, sorry. They'll make you sick. My ancestors are good at that. I was sick, and they love it when I have issues with my feet, because it's like the engine. You can't do anything when you have swollen feet. You can't wear shoes. I find that the pattern is the same. So I went through that, and when I got back from Twaso, I was okay. I was spiritually, emotionally, and mentally, at least I was okay. I was in a good space. However, physically, I was still ill. I had to attend to my physical illness, even post Twaso. So the after effects were quite horrible, because I think I only got healed in 2021, if I'm not mistaken, because I discovered what was wrong with me in December of 2020. I eventually just decided to go to hospital, took tests, and as soon as they gave me the results, I was like, thank you very much, I'll go heal myself. Now that I know what the problem is, I'll go heal myself. And I remember the hospital made me sign a release form that I refused treatment. So yeah, I went immediately, because I was in Limpopo at the time. So when I left the hospital, a couple of days later, I went to my Gobela. I told her what the problem was, and she gave me the herbs that I needed to take. I left Limpopo, came back to Joburg. I took the herbs that she gave me, and then I also then mixed some of my own herbs, and then continued the journey throughout to my healing until I was eventually healed, like probably 6 weeks later. While still going through all of that, I got retrenched. So the company that I was working for shut down. I loved working for that company. I loved my job. I was happy. I was comfortable. I was content. I never saw that coming. So in a space of 2 years, I went through the most. I literally went through the most. So I was mourning way too many things. I had lost way too many things. I was just not myself. And then in 2021, again, the pandemic was still there, and I had Twasas. That also has its own challenges. You've got people with multiple personalities, different backgrounds, so there's always clashes, there's always misunderstandings, there's always all of that. It was a lot of them at a time, which is also physically exhausting, because you are as a Gobela, you are up at odd hours of the morning to drum for Matwasa and stuff like that. But it was the first time that I had that much of a number at a go. So I'm used to having my 1 or 2 initiates, which so yeah, sorry about that. So I'm used to having my 1 or 2 initiates, one at a go. But I think that year I had my the 2 that rolled over, for lack of a better word, that I had in 2020, but they needed to finish in 2021. But as the year progressed in 2021, then I think I had about 6 or 7 or something like that. There was a lot. These are people that are in your space, in your personal space. You're trying to navigate through other things, work, managing the people, and all of that. And yeah, so it's really been tough. And then obviously I got a job, so I had a new job. I had quite a number of twasas, and I hadn't really recovered emotionally or mentally or spiritually from any of the things that I've been going through. So I just hadn't been myself. In 2022, I think I declared it the year of healing. When the year started, I was like, you know what, it's been a long year. I want to heal. I want to heal from all of these things. Little did I know that healing was painful. We sensationalize healing. We make healing sound like, oh my God, it's this nice thing. Healing is painful. Healing is painful. Healing means you have to go through feelings that you don't want to go through. Healing means you need to confront feelings, situations, people, because some holes you left you just didn't close, you just left them and pretended they didn't exist, you know. So when I declared 2022 my year of healing, I didn't know what I was putting myself through. I thought it's just a matter of me reclaiming and regaining, you know, myself, my confidence, my self-esteem, my calm, my peace. I mean, I used to be known as ugogo inner peace, you know, because I love being happy, I love being at peace, I love being calm. And yeah, so 2022, yeah, I had seen it all, you know. Or anything and everything that could go wrong went wrong. Professionally, academically, personally, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, because I needed to go through all of those things. I needed to go through those things. I needed to open all of those wounds on all of those levels, you know, for me to heal. I remember one time I had a session with my life coach. I mean, it was meant to be a professional session, but you know, a lot of things came through that were more personal in that session. And at that point, I realized that, you know what, if I don't deal with this, I will not thrive even professionally, you know. So that was my 2022. It was hell. Emotionally, it was hell. Spiritually, it was hell mentally. Physically, I was just holding on because, I mean, I've learned this like very early in life, that if you ulala moya, if you're sick spiritually, if you're sick emotionally, if you're sick mentally, then the body can carry you. So what that means is that every second day you have a diarrhea. If you don't have diarrhea, you have flu. If you don't have flu, you have a headache. If you don't have a headache, you're fatigued. So that was, in a nutshell, my 2022. I was tired on all levels. Worst of all, I had to go to the hospital at least 3 times. I had to go through surgery. I had to go through my doctor said initially it was a minor operation, but I said to him, listen, this is not a minor operation. Thank you very much. This is major. I don't know how you declare things to be, or surgery to be minor or major, but the way I'm feeling, it was major. So I went through one major operation, one minor operation, and another procedure, you know. And so physically, I was just out of it. And while going through all of that, I still needed to work. I was doing my busy with my master's research. I had still matwasa. I was still working, and my work is very demanding. There's traveling, there's projects, there was this, there was that. I was being tested from, you know, all angles, all sides of life, you know. Personally, I was being tested. Professionally, I was being tested. Spiritually, I was being tested. You know, I was just going through the most. But what I love is that I got out. You know, I got out of the. My battery is low. I just want to unplug the other one so that I can plug this one. Sorry about that. So yeah, so I went through that, and yeah. So I think I healed. You know, I healed. And I can safely say I've healed. You know, I am at a point in my life where I'm happy with where I am in life. I have gotten to understand so much about myself, so much about how I relate with people, and I've also gotten to a point of realizing that a lot of unhappiness that was in my life actually had nothing. Most of it had nothing to do with me, but it had more with me looking for myself in other people. You know, so I'd get frustrated with matwasa, get frustrated with friends, I get frustrated with family, get frustrated with people because they just simply handling things different from how I would handle things. And being a healer and being, you know, a mother figure, you foresee problems either with the spiritual eye or with the eldership eye, and you want to be protective of people and stuff like that. But I'm at a point where I've gotten to you know, a point of saying, look, people, everybody is not me, everybody is themselves, and afford them to be themselves. You know, when you reach this point in life where what people think of you and how people view you is immaterial, then you've healed. You know, when events and people that broke you no longer make you cry, then you know you've healed. You know, and I can talk about events, I can talk about people, and I'm not in pain. You know, I am not crying because I've done the work. I spent the whole year doing the work. When you talk about uh, when I see some of the people that really, really broke me, and I don't have a feeling, I know I've healed, and so that was my 2022. So 2023 is a year of restoration, so I've healed now. Now I'm restoring myself. So mentally I'm okay, physically I'm okay, emotionally I'm okay, spiritually I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. So I'm going through a reset now. I'm restoring, because obviously when you're not okay, you're not looking after yourself. You're not looking after all parts of yourselves. So I'm back looking after my finances, having conversations with my financial advisors. I'm back having conversations, being the vibrant me. I'm back, excited about school again. And I got feedback from my supervisor that my proposal was accepted. So 2023, I'm going for full research. I'm excited because I can see the end, or the beginning of the end, because I'm like, oh girl, you doing your research for your masters. I mean, just a couple of years ago, it was just a dream, and I know I want to get to my PhD, and I'm like, yes, go. Once you are done with your masters, do you know what that means? While you're busy with your masters, you should also be thinking about your research topic for your PhD, because you are there, So I'm good. I'm good. There's another part of my life that I went through, that I will discuss on a different day, on a different topic. But for now, I just wanted to talk about what the year 2023 means for me. I call it 2020 me, 2020 free, because my soul is indeed free. I used to be bothered. I used to want people to think that I'm a nice person. I used to want people to like me. I used to want people to accept me. I used to want affirmation from people, on many levels, and that really affected me negatively. And I think the work that I did has really allowed me to not really care, or worry about what people think. I know my truth. I understand my truth. I understand myself. And usually, I remember my husband would always say, if people were judged on intent and not on their action, a lot of criminals would not. Okay, bad example. A lot of people would not be where they are, because the intention is not always to be hurtful. The intention is not always to harm, but perception is the root of all evil. So sometimes you have good intentions, but how it's perceived is totally different. So you reach a point in life where you're like, people and their opinions, their perceptions of who they think I am is no longer matter at this point. So I'm at a point in my life where I want to cement my financial stability. I'm a very good person who usually manages their finance very well. So this year, I'm going all out. This year, I want to see a lot of growth in terms of business, in terms of healing, onto more visibility, and yeah, growth at work, growth on all levels. That's just it, because I'm vibrating on normally now. My vibrations are back to normal, and I hope they can reach greater heights, because I know myself when I'm vibrating normally. I know myself when I'm on a positive mindset. I achieve a lot. When I don't have self-confidence issues, I don't have self-esteem issues, I'm not bothered about a lot of things. And another one of my mantras for 2023 is address the issue, not the person. It doesn't matter where the problem comes from. It doesn't matter where the issue comes from. Address the matter. If the matter is worth being addressed, address it and move on. So that's the thing. Because even at work, sometimes we fear people. We fear people because they are our senior. We fear people because of many things. Historically, sometimes you fear people because of their skin color. So there's a lot of complexities that come with being in the corporate world. But I think this year is a year where I don't care where the issue comes from. I don't care who brings the issue up. I don't care who's at fault. I'm just interested in the issue. If it affects me directly, how do I address it? If it affects me, even if it affects me indirectly, how do I address it? And I think so far, from a professional point of view, I'm doing very well. I am doing very well because the imposter syndrome was also a big, at play for most of my year in 2022. Like, the imposter syndrome was big. Like, it was like my best friend. It was like anytime I'm trying to do something professionally, it's there. Like, girl, you don't know what you're doing. You don't belong here, and wada. Even in healing, the imposter syndrome would be there. Coupled with a lot of other issues that came with their own challenges in my space as a healer. But so this year is a good year. It's the year of restoration. It's the year of reset. It's the year of reclaiming, and it's a happy year. It's a calm year. It's a year of peace. That's my declaration. I feel that it's always important that when you start your year, so I have I go through this process 3 times in a year. So I go through this process in January of each year because we observe a new year. Obviously, it's a new year. So I go through that. I'll go through that for my birthday. So I also go through that for my birthday. So my New Year's are also my birthdays. So whenever I go through my birthday, I set goals. So I set goals in January of each year. And then because my birthday is in July, it's very easy to do a mid-year review to see how far I am with the goals that I set in January, and then reset what I need to reset, and then set the goals for the year ahead. So I review the goals that I need to achieve towards year end, and then I add the other ones that I need to achieve by the next birthday. So that's basically it. And then I go through this process again in September. Why I go through this process in September is that it's mostly spiritually. That one is mostly spiritually. So because of Reemela Khohola Moko, which is Pula Matomo, after hibernation. It's a season where we come out. It's a season where flowers bloom. It's a season of many things, So spiritually, I reset in September a lot of times because it's our new year in actual fact. That's when the new year. That's around the new year. So that's when I give my first fruit. That's also when I do my grain, like all the rituals with my grains and all of that. So I go through that process. It's very important for me to go through those processes. Goal setting is very important. Understanding what the bigger picture is, understanding where you ultimately want to see yourself by the end of the year, or where you want to see yourself overall in life. I always say, for me, goal setting is like you see the end. You know the end, the ultimate end, whether it's a 10-year or 20 or 30-year goal, and then you keep on breaking it down per year. So ultimately, I know I'd love to be here, but on each year, how do I break that down for me to be able to get to that point? So that's why goal setting is very important to me. I feel that spiritually, it's very important to set your intentions with God, with your ancestors, so that the universe knows what you want. The universe can respond accordingly to what you want. I don't like being confused in terms of what I want. I like to be clear on what I want. So it's very important for me to go through the exercise of what overall in life, what would you want? Overall in life, what would you like to achieve? As a person, as a professional, as an academic, as a businesswoman, as a wife, as a healer, So I look at my life holistically to say, what would I like to achieve in life generally? When I say I've succeeded as a healer, what am I talking about? When I say I've succeeded professionally, what am I talking about? What does it look like? When I say I've succeeded on a personal level, as a person, as a wife, as a sister, as a friend, as whatever. What does that look like? What is my ideal future? I usually look at it from that end. I you'd and I it used to bother me because I always felt like I was not content with what I have. But then I realized that it's okay to dream. It's okay to set goals. So I look at that and then I'll break it down. I'll break it down. Like now I'm saying I'm excited about my research proposal being accepted because it means I'm doing my full research for my master's. But I'm more excited by the fact that I'm getting closer to the end of the master's. I'm doing research this year and finishing it this year. So, and at the same time, I'm more excited about getting to a point of writing my PhD proposal, because then it means I'm getting closer to my goal, because my goal is to have a PhD in industrial psychology. That's my field. I love doing that. So yeah, for me that's just how I deal with my goals, and some of the goals are financial. So obviously, if you want to be somewhere financially, it means you need to do like a deep dive into your finances. You need to look at your earnings versus your spendings. You need to look at my husband always says it doesn't matter how much you have, how you manage the money is what matters. So whether you save 100 rands or you save 500 rands, it's the discipline that it takes for you to save. So again, I'm deep diving into that space, having conversations with my financial advisors to check, am I okay? Do I need to add more investments? Reviewing all the investments that I have, reviewing everything that I have. Do I have to add? Am I overdoing? Am I not overdoing? Checking all my life policies. Am I okay? Am I covered? Am I overcovered? What needs to change? And then I'm also reviewing my will, making sure that I've got, the yeah, sorry about that. So the light in my office goes off if I don't move for a while. So I guess I haven't moved for a while. I just want to close this popping on my screen. Yeah, so reviewing my will, making sure that I'm still content with all my beneficiaries because I don't have kids. So it's important that all the hard work that I'm putting in, I'm in control of who's going to benefit from it. So doing that, setting my spiritual goals, because I feel that it's also important to set your spiritual goals where you feel that you lacked the previous year. Like I know I didn't, because of what I was going through emotionally, spiritually I was not really balancing. So I'm trying to pick myself up, and I started the year by having sessions with my gobelas. So I had a call with Mama, I had a call with my other kokwan because she's not in Joburg, and then I visited Ndate, and I'm gonna go see my other kokwani also, just to to sort of set the mood. And then we're also gonna go see my husband's kobela or spiritual father, if you may, just to reset spiritually, to see if identify if there's any gaps, if there's anything that we missed, is there anything that they've seen, what is going on. So doing that, and also going through just a spiritual cleanse, so I start my year with a spiritual cleanse, fota, agapa, gajamapodlo, to set the tone, the spiritual tone. Another ritual that I like to do in the beginning of the year, of each year, is to go home, my home, where I was born, So I go to both my maternal and my paternal homes, and I go to all the grave sites. I go to my great-grandparents' graves, my grandparents' graves, my uncles or my late uncles, my mom now is also a part of them. So on both families, I'll go to the graves, go visit them in the new year, tell them my intentions for the year. Yeah. and then spend time from my father's side. I'm left with my dad, spend time with him. And from my mother's side, I'm really left with my grandmother, spend time with her. I feel that it sets the mood and the tone for the year. And then for the rest of the year, I don't have to worry about, oh my God, I haven't gone home, I haven't seen my Kobela, I haven't spoken to my Kobela. I know I've made the time and the effort to see my Kobela. I know I've made the time and effort to go home. So even if I get very busy throughout the year because of work, studies, traveling, spiritual work and all of that, I know I've gone home, I've touched, the ground, the home ground. I've gone to the graves, so I do that. Yeah. And then what else? Yeah, so that's basically usually how I start my year. Generally, I'm a very organized person on a professional level and on a spiritual level. So I write things down a lot. I have a notepad for Sporofeto. I have a notepad for Bongaka. I have a notepad for my academics. I have a notepad for my work. I have a spreadsheet for my finances, because I believe in, if you don't have records of things, then you don't know what you're working with. So you're constantly trying to figure out. So I don't want to constantly be figuring out where I'm at, what my goals are, and which ones have I achieved, how far am I, and all of that. So I like to write things down. And each year I start, I'll show you, each year I start a new book. So you'll see this one, it's written Kiamalachi 2022. It's not covered, but yeah, it does the work. And so you'll see, this is my book for last year. It looks terrible. Can you see? It's overused. So, and this one is also my book for last year. So yeah, so this year I thought I also added this one, the bigger one, the bigger exercise, because I felt like I separate the things. So and these are my notepads for work. And then at home I have for my spiritual work as well, because I want to write my dreams down. I journal my dreams, I journal my spiritual goals and all of that. Yeah, so basically that's it for the year. I'm looking forward to for the year ahead. I think I want to focus on growing the Mishungwane. In 2020 I used to do a lot of packaging of herbs and selling herbs, and also this year I want to go back to selling herbs. I think I'm in a better spiritual space. I'm that type of person that believes that if I'm not okay, I don't like to mix herbs for people, because I feel that energy is very important. So when I'm not in a good space, I don't like to be mixing herbs for people and all of that. So that's that. And then I'm going to do that. I want to grow the Mshimkwani business side of things. Do a lot more of the speaking engagements. Continue growing. So that's it basically. So the content that I'll share on the Mishungwane page will not necessarily be spiritual. It will be, usually initially my channel, or the channel, used to be known as All Things MakhosiK, meaning anything about me. So if I want to talk about finances, I can talk about finances. If I want to talk about life, I can talk about life. If I want to talk about challenges, professional space, anything that I can talk about. I'm not limited to just talking about Bongaka or Profeta or I like to talk about everything, because generally I'm a healer. Professionally, I'm an industrial psychologist. I'm in HR, so I do come across interesting things. So I want to talk about everything. I don't necessarily want to talk about Bongaka Fela, so that's basically it for the year. So yeah, I just wanted to say it's important that you set your goals. It's important that you reset. You set your goals, reset at the beginning of each year, cleanse at the beginning of each year, review what went wrong previously, what could have been done differently the previous year. And also, don't only focus on the negatives, also focus on the positives. If there's great achievements that you achieved, pat yourself on the back. Be happy that you achieved. I know sometimes the negatives can be so much that we forget that there were even positives. So that's basically it. I'm looking forward to a great 2023, and I will not be the only person that interacts with you. Sometimes I'll feature my husband, sometimes I'll feature our spiritual kids, sometimes I'll feature my colleagues from all walks of life, be it professionally, spiritually, whatever. So I'll feature whoever I feel that has a topic that is worth discussing. So that's it. It's gonna be a new year. I'm happy. I cut my hair. I'm no longer Mrs. Dreadlocks. Yeah, so there's a new look. So I may vlog. I'm not good. I'm not a very creative person in terms of certain things, but I may vlog every now and then. I do have a couple of videos that I took, from 2022. I do have a couple of videos that I took from 2022 that I may share. Yeah, once I figure out, a system and a rhythm. Yeah, so that's it. I am a happy being, I'm starting to feel like MakhosiK is back. Yeah, MakhosiK is back, and we're looking forward to a fruitful and a blessed 2023. And I wish all of you the best for the year. Let's see how the year goes. Let's see how we do. But one thing that I'm going to leave you with is choose you. Choose yourself no matter what. Do what makes you happy no matter what. Everybody else is secondary, you can't put, you can't put oxygen mask on your own self first, and then you can think of helping other people, and really the problem is usually way bigger in the head than it actually is in reality. And lastly, people's opinions are exactly that, opinions. Sometimes they're valid, sometimes they're not valid. Don't let them get to you. And we're all just trying the best that we can under the circumstances. Sometimes circumstances are bad, sometimes circumstances are good, but we're all just trying our best. So looking forward to a fruitful year. If there's topics that you'd like me to cover, please do comment, let me know, and then I'll consider them. If it's topics that I also feel that I can tackle, then I will tackle them. So yeah, if there's topics that you'd also like me to cover, I'll cover, but for now it's just general. There will be topics about healing, there will be topics about anything and everything, I have a couple of topics in mind for the year that we'll talk about. Yeah, Togozani. Yours truly, MakhosiK. Until next time, keep well.